the ways of the serpent and my heel. Consider this. We assume many things about coming into this life, this reality, this projection that we exist within, of which those who go in accordance to the truth, immaculate conception. You were born in this matrix with immaculate conception, and that is the truth. And that tells you that this is a matrix of lies if you're set apart and you were immaculately conceived. Each individual has the opportunity to become Christ. Most individuals settle for much less. Individuals act like they love you, but they really don't. Consider your parents or your loved ones, maybe even your sister. These individuals are only in love with themselves as they are worms. This is the King of Tyre dynamic. All of these people are automatons of Egypt. And though you see different individuals inside of this fucking matrix, the walkers, the dog walkers that come out, if you're an active one, they'll come out of their house like worms. The traffic will change on streets. Everything here is a holographic projection. The world is you, it is yours. You control it with your mind, you control it with your thoughts. You have many new agers that they talk about it, but they haven't figured it out. The recipe is right there in the Bible. This world's only goal is to tempt you into believing that you need it. But when do you ever see people agree? Ever. You never see people agree. But it's like the whole world has come together to let you know that you came into this world and you have nothing but needs. You are a needy individual. You need this or you need that, or you need to keep up with all of these individuals, so on and so forth. You got to look great. You got to compete for this job. This is a narcissistic world. If everybody has that parasite, let's take for instance, when Neo was put on that damn table and Agent Smith put that parasite inside of his belly button, right? Think about this. Think about this. If everybody has that same parasite, right? In the Bible, it speaks of the worm. Jacob, thou worm, right? Because if you exist in the physical matrix, then what you have is a worm, is what they call it. Really is, I'm not going to get into it. A worm, right? And worms are asex, for one. All right? They're not attracted to neither male nor female. Now think about that verse in Timothy. In Christ there is neither Jew nor Gentile, free nor bond, gay or straight. Right? So it's saying every manner of individual is the same within Christ. So every human being is the same, and God being unbiased, and everybody has this worm. Okay, this spirit is 4D. It's not a parasite from Earth or nothing like that. It's a fourth dimensional thing, right? And it exists. Okay, it exists in your first eye or whatever, and everyone has the same, but everybody is unique and different. Okay? For those who go in the way of truth, they are considered to be redeemed from the earth or immaculately conceived because they tell the truth, and what they come into is revelations, because they'll realize even those who are closest to them may be the greatest liars. May be the greatest liars of them all, and they do it by intention. When you start telling the truth, you'll see it is nothing but liars. And liars network with other liars, and there are also different degrees of narcissism. Consider masonry also, where you have different degrees and so on and so forth. So if everybody is the same, but we all look different, that will relevate us not to our external appearance, right? But the so-called seed of an individual or the worm of an individual, which would make everyone practically the same. However, physical unto physical and spirit unto spirit. This is physical Egypt. And they do spiritual things, but not according to truth. So what type of works are they into? Lies, deception, so on and so forth. These people end up not having a mind, and they become weeds. They start out good, but then after they sprout up, they turn into weeds. All right? They lose all manner of themselves, right? And they just fall apart. And the reason why these individuals, and they just keep coming up like that, these are all weeds, okay? Weeds are highly dependent, okay, on others, highly dependent on others for everything else. They have, take for instance, the resources that you get from the earth, like water, right, and soil, right? The weed can get it could get into the soil, and it could get good roots, right? But it needs to still water, right? It needs to still water, and it needs, where it's at depends a great deal on its survival, because it's almost like a weed needs to take from something else in order to survive. So essentially the weed is a parasite. So if you tell the truth in a world full of liars, then everybody's going to turn against you. And not only are those individuals that you come into revelation that are liars, those individuals that are cool with those individuals, you know those got to be liars also. Okay? What happens if you lie so much you fucking don't know yourself? Do you think that you start lying to yourself as well? Okay, so this would make an individual totally dependent. It would make an individual totally dependent on whoever they're around. They would be completely needy all the time. You know, this addresses a lot of the female archetype, point blank and period. You know what I'm saying? Having several insecurities, so on and so forth, where they need constant reassurance, no different than a puppy, makes a relationship difficult to have, right? When you're constantly performing a job that individuals get paid for. If someone has self-esteem issues, that is not the time to really work them out in a relationship, you know? And if you work out those issues, then that individual that has those issues, that has those insecurities, they come out of that relationship feeling like, well, they're saying this and that about me. I had low self-esteem. They have no self-awareness. Now I have high self-esteem because I'm pumped full of hot air. So I'm going to leave this individual and get something better. I think I could get something better than this individual. And the truth of the matter is, they can't, right? And then both individuals are for the worse. The individual that built up that individual wasted all their time. And the individual that became a narcissist based upon someone trying to help, that individual ends up being hoarded out to the earth because nobody is really going to take them seriously. And the individual that was building them up because they cared about them, right? Or in this world, consequently, most relationships are symbiotic to the degree that two parasites come together and they have opposing needs that can fit together like a puzzle and something can kind of work out. Generally, they just depend on drugs, right? There's no other dimensions to that character. There's only 2 degrees of that character. Drugs and fuck. That's it. That's all they do, right? That's what a weed is. You know, they'll do anything for money or they'll do anything for a certain type of resources because they have no substantive value to themselves. And they're fully content with spending life wasting away, sitting on a couch, watching TV, and talking shit about everybody else except themselves. Why can't they talk shit about themselves? Because at one point where they had the ability to be insecure, and all the lies that they tell and the karma, so on and so forth, they lose themselves. So they don't even have the ability to be insecure. they become insects or worms. Literal worms. And worms like to what? Maggots like to hang on the dead, right? That's all they are. They're maggots. Maggots and flies, man. So this is what I'm trying to tell you, to keep you from wasting your time to where you end up in situations where you lose your time or you may have to deal with heartbreak. It's best you leave these things in the world alone. A lot of these females, if you don't catch them early, it is game over by the time they graduate from high school. They've been dealing with older men and so on and so forth. This is a way of life out here. You know what I'm saying? Most of them get caught up on drugs, and if they're not caught up on drugs, they get caught up in these secret families and networks, so on and so forth. And it's very high school in America. It's very battle royale. It's very cliquish and immature. And we like to put on a veneer and a stun, as in the CIA is so suave or the FBI. These guys are goofies. They can't do shit. They all fucked up like everybody else. All right? The only ones that have common sense are the individuals that tell the truth. If you don't tell the truth, you will lose everything. Okay? That's just facts. You know, no matter what you lose, if you tell the truth, you will always have the truth. And if you have the truth, you will keep your mind. All right? But individuals, when they tell lies, the minute they tell that lie is the minute they start losing their mind. It's all in one. It's all in the same. So Revelations is coming to realize that your institutions, your churches, your schools, so on and so forth, everything in this matrix is a facade and a lie. The spirits of this matrix is a facade and a lie also. Okay? If they have the truth in them, then they have substance. But if an individual doesn't have truth, they don't have anything. They don't even have themselves. All right? Peace and blessings be with you all, man. Keep the truth and tell the truth always. I'm out.